Hello, everyone. Well, you know what we're going to do. Take a few deep breaths, close your eyes. And as you're exhaling and sinking into your body, I want you to start tapping. One of the key things we need to do for deep emotional healing to take place is that we have to become adept at paying attention to the body and not to the mind. Now, the things you experienced early on, wounds and traumas and the like, because they cut us off from our real feelings, our natural, authentic self feelings, in order to suppress them, to not feel those feelings because they were just too painful, we went into our heads. We disassociated. And we tended to become more mental. We thought about things more than felt them. And the emotions were still there. They were still moving us. We're not as sensitive to them. We're not really listening to them. We either get overwhelmed by them or we ignore them. And as you've seen with the presence tapping, we're not ignoring them. Some may come up and be pretty overwhelming. And if the nervous system truly gets overwhelmed, it will back it off. It will shut it down. So you don't have to worry about that. Just do your best to stay present with whatever comes up. But that presence requires us to get out of our heads and into our bodies. Of course, it's in the body, in our feelings, where life is actually experienced. We don't think life, we feel life. We do live in a culture that's very mental, very analytical. It's very quick to try to get away from feelings. So we're just going to go back there and be with those feelings. To do that, we need to recognize that the stories in our head, the narrative that's going on, actually came later. The feelings came first. The difficulties, the stuff that had to be suppressed. And later on, we started coming up with stories and explanations as to why. All of those stories, those explanations would have been incomplete. They would have been after the fact. They wouldn't have been true to form. They wouldn't have had all the facts available to them. It would have been the best guess the mind would make at the time. And once those stories get put in place, they tend to get repeated over and over again. I always do that. Or just a thought that just keeps recurring. What if those thoughts aren't really true? What if they don't really express or explain the real underlying essence that's going on? I'm inviting you to consider that it might be actually true, that they aren't really an accurate account. So when you're putting your attention in the body, and just the feelings, just opening up a space where they can be felt. You have the authority to not give any attention to your mind. You can actually discount it. It starts becoming very repetitive and noisy. You can simply say, thank you, but I don't need you right now. I know you're just trying to keep me safe and help, but I don't really need you right now. I just need to feel this. So remember, a lot of our narratives are to keep us from feeling. Explain things. Think about the feelings rather than feel them. And so cutting this tie between our feelings and our thoughts about the feelings is a very powerful skill and power to have. Something inside of us believes these stories are true, and which is why we think them over and over again. But what if they're not? In fact, what if they got it completely wrong? You notice how that narrative, that repeating story, actually sustains the feeling, actually keeps the distressful feeling going. Because we've been educated to go into our minds, when something distressful happens, we go to the mind to try to find a solution. But there isn't one. It doesn't have one. You can only search memory and see if you can find something. When it can't, it begins to spin. Because it can't, it reports that message back. We don't have a solution. We don't have a solution. You can see how the entire thing can just escalate. So let's just gently but firmly turn our attention away from that. There's no answer there. And just be with the feeling as a feeling. Now, there's something in there that needs to be revealed. Some event of the past or something that needs to come up and be healed. It's going to come up from within, from the body. If the mind could have figured it out, it would have by now. So it's the body that knows what actually happened, why it happened, what it did and needed to do in order to compensate for it. So we're just taking the authority now to put more emphasis on being with the body, the nervous system, the feelings and sensations as they're running through the body, than on the thinking we have about the story we have about the explanation we may have come up with, or may have been told to us by somebody else and we believed it. Instead, let's rely on the feelings themselves to reveal themselves, to reveal what their source was. And just the act of getting out of the mind and more fully in the body could be all that it needed to just let it go. Now remember, you have been deeply conditioned to get out of your body and into your head. There's difficult wounds and things when we were children. We didn't want to feel them, so we suppressed them. So this habit of thinking instead of feeling runs very deeply. So don't be surprised if you find yourself distracted or it keeps coming up. Don't get discouraged. The body knows the score. The body knows what's happening, and it knows how to release it. We just have to keep giving it time and attention and love. And, as always, a little gratitude. And a little gratitude. Just thank you for taking such good care of me. Thank you for just working so hard to keep me safe. 24/7, my entire life. Right from the beginning, right from conception, you were on the job. Thank you. I wouldn't have gotten this far without you. Thank you. I love you. Okay, you can stop now. Take a breath. When you're ready, you can open your eyes if they're not already opened, and just let that sink in so we can lose some of our dependence on and adherence to the explanations and stories and things that we've developed in our mind to try to explain the stuff that the body already knows about. We just need to be close and intimate with it. See you next time.